So I reached out to Klipsch because I was digging through their product catalog online, and they're pretty good with me. They're like, hey, I like this one, I review this and that. And then I found these, the THX-5000-LCRs. There are also 6,000 LCRs. Anyway, 32 pounds of sealed murder. This is a pro speaker by them. I'm gonna move it to the new miniature home theater wallpaper. And we'll continue to we'll actually have to listen to these. But real quick rundown, 6 by 10 inch track 6 horn, ceramic 5 1/4, oh God, aluminum faceplate. Not exactly the nicest looking box. Again, these are from their, I wouldn't say commercial, but their pro install line. You do get a breakup between the horn and the drivers if you wanted to go and do a bi-amping situation. And I've seen them online, because here's the thing, you can't just go and buy these. I found them on Amazon. Someone's got them on Amazon for $1,335 a piece, or there was another website I'll look up when I'm doing the description for this video that was around like $1,000 a piece. And I told Klipsch I want 3 of them because I'm doing a double review. I'm going to tell you how these insane dedicated home theater speakers are, and I'm also going to review the 3-channel Emotiva amplifier that they sent me, the A3. So let's get off this desk and make this appear somewhere else. So now we're here in this space, and if I sit down, you're gonna wonder, why am I reviewing the Swan M5As? Because I see a lot of speakers in this new area with all linear laid out. Where are those giant speakers? Oh, they're hidden. They live here now. They live here now. I put these terrible covers on them. The covers that don't do, all right. I'm refilming this part of the review. I did the part of my desk like 5 days ago, went to Chicago, did Can Jam, came back, started editing the other ones, don't like it. I didn't like the last half. I didn't feel like I was being honest enough. I cannot tell you how insane it is to be introduced to a speaker that is completely and not a whole speaker. This speaker, these LCR 5000s, these THX 5000s, are not a whole speaker. In fact, let's take these stupid covers off. They say THX Ultra 2 on them, by the way. And they're pegged covers. So you're like, modern high-end Klipsch magnets, bro. But these are designed for professional or commercial installs, pegs. Like, that seems a little bit like backwards. Like, why would you make a speaker that costs as much as this does? I can't buy it online, and it's got old tech, and it's frankly not that pretty. Like, here's the thing. I'm a home theater enthusiast. I think we could I think if we wander to where the real home theater is, I think we could see that I'm a home theater enthusiast. And Klipsch is pretty much taken over. Like my sunroom has the Fortes. This has got the Heresies up front and then Swans everywhere else. I'm a home theater enthusiast. And this area I decided to dedicate to, speaker listening. It was the only area in my basement that had a fucking plug in the wall. There. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just set up a little amp and I'll put speakers here. That was just a guess when I first moved in. And then I realized, oh, there's 2 windows right next to each other. That's nice. There's light here. Got the plug, I got a TV stand, I got plenty of space, I can block things. Oh, it's a rug that I brought from upstairs, even though I'm drawing line. But I don't come here and enjoy anything. I started enjoying things here with the boot carts, with the big A700s. I moved the couch around, and I started sitting in this space to listen and watch, TV shows, catch up on things, wallpaper, second wallpaper. Not in the description, but in the wallpaper horde. So, to my absolute astonishment, after I had done the review of the previous review that I just went over, I'm watching it, I'm like, I don't think you get it. There are very few speakers that when someone asks me this question, Are there speakers that are better for home theater or better for music? And it's like an eh. A lot of times, a speaker that is a home theater speaker has limitations, like these do. These do not produce below 80 hertz. Now, any normal speaker that is just, I got to do music, it's got to do movies, got to do everything, they try to get as much low end as possible. You want to get, bass. But if you're designing something specifically to rely on a 0.1 subwoofer, which in the case of this area, remarkably, is being run entirely off of that little Martin Logan Dynamo 400, the little 8-inch. Remember the little 8-inch? It's in the perfect spot thanks to the subcrawl. And that little subwoofer's job, hooked up to the Emotiva MC700, and these three, again, this is a double review. This is the Emotiva A3, which if you watched my review of the A7, I ripped that thing apart, showed you the big toroidal transformer, used it upstairs, I made a whole surround sound. This one only has 3 channels, and they're more powerful. So that's all its job is. I've got 1, 2, 3 wires going down, plugged into the back, RCA ins, and you have 1, 2, 3 identical matching speakers. And I'm like, all right, I'll play around down here. I want to use these, left, right, center. How do they sound for music, Zeos? On their own, you don't want to listen to music on these. If I pause this and set it all up and made it use just left and right stereo, these speakers would be like, oh God, there's nothing, it's got good imaging, but it's got nothing else. In fact, I'm going to correct myself. It doesn't even have that good an imaging. Imaging being where it can make a center image and then move through the space like this, because that's what a good speaker can do. So these speakers don't have that good an imaging. It's very bright coming from that corner, and it's very bright coming from that corner, and you get a center image if you're just perfect. So, But then you throw a center channel here, and then you're not using it for music anymore. I'm not saying you can't use these for music, but holy fuck, movies, watching things, surround sound, what the actual purpose of these speakers are. I grabbed my set of DIY 3.1 Swans, because I'm a sadist and I love putting giant speakers as rear channels, which are a little bit bright, honestly. And I threw those up on these, what are you? You're this Sonic Fiber speaker stands, jacked them up to the highest point, running them off a Behringer A500? Which one are you? A800. I got the A800 amp. I don't even know. So there's my rear channels. There's my back channel. I throw a single fluid, which I might do a whole video on the fact that I converted this to fiber optic over there. So I go on a long fiber optic cable and reconvert it with a cheap DAC into this to make it a back channel. I have spent way too much time going from like, all right, I'll test these 3 speakers, to, all right, I'll test these 3 speakers and this amp. And by the way, I'm going to build an entire other surround set here because I can't, here's the change. It used to be I would finish my days or the work and editing or whatever I was doing, even if I was just dicking around, just in the bathroom, jacking it. When that day was over, my thought process went to, okay, I'm going to go watch TV, anime, a movie. I'm going to go consume YouTube. And it was always the sunroom with the Fortes on the 65-inch OLED. And that's where I want to hang out. And then, I had the home theater built, and it's like, well, that's specifically for movies like once a week. And once this place was set up with these speakers, with these 3 LCR 5000s, which, by the way, there are 6000s, I just want to remind you again that there's bigger ones. This is the only place I wanted to be. Here, wait, let me show you. I'm sorry, what? Movie? Stop Lone Survivor for a second. That's Lone Survivor. Terrible movie, in my opinion. Great, true story. God bless the heroes that fought. But whoever made that movie doesn't understand when you fall down a hill that many times, you'll be a puddle of dead bones. But my God, the surround sound. And that's what these speakers are literally fucking designed to do. And I doubted them because you always test with music first. Zeos, it's a lot easier to test with music. So you put them on, you put them in stereo, and yeah, okay, let's add a subwoofer to get the low end. And it's like, all right, the low end's there. Fuck that. You have a dedicated home theater. You buy these speakers. You spend whatever it is to get, I currently have 3, and I'm just using random ones for the rear. If I can coax Klipsch to send me another 3 of the fucking 6,000s, it would be 6,000, 6,000, 6,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, and then I would figure out a subwoofer a little bit more ballsy than the Martin Logan, which is doing a tremendous job, by the way. And this already, and this setup already, makeshift as the back end is, although it's pretty exceptional because I'm Zeos and I have these fucking speakers lying around, is better than the Atmos setup that I had with the $4,000 processor, where I mounted shit to the ceiling and I was trying to, I had Swan self-powereds in the front. I had all this shit going. This is better. It's the fact that these don't image well is kind of like having, what's that? The F-22 jet. You know the F-22 fighter jet that I don't know if you're for or against it being built like $2 billion. Completely unstable, unflyable without the computer system. It's completely fucking like, oh, it'll just fall out of the sky. And these don't work as speakers. These speakers don't work as speakers. I got a pair of speakers. Let's put them in the house. Listen to music. No. But you get a third speaker, so you don't need imaging. And then they're very focused sound placements. Holy shit. Because it didn't image right that far apart. We're pretty far apart. I actually don't know the distance. 12 feet here? But between here and here, that images perfectly. So it goes from here down to the center and back up to that. And then obviously if it had another side channel, it would be a little bit closer. I wouldn't put it. But the staging on this is so aggressive. Like, you know how much horn is there, right? If we added up all the horn, it would be the horn, like the horn equivalent of just like a tuba. So listening to shit, can I unpause this while it's here? Like the backs help. Oh. The clarity of things exploding and gunshots, and we can go to other things that are not shooty bang bang movies. I was watching my own reviews down here because I got to rewatch everything I ever film. So I, crop them together, up them to YouTube, and then I have to rewatch them. And I started doing them down here because obviously I'm falling in love with this little space I've made for myself. Yes, the walls are ugly, but I'm kind of proud that I'm just against. They're actually not dirty. These are, you could eat off these walls. They're brand new. But I had to listen to myself with a center channel. I don't run center channels often. I run them in the big home theater. I got the set of Swans up with the Fortes. I don't have it. This is in the Fortes. So having that center channel have my voice, my own voice, which I've listened to extensively, come out of it, I was kind of, the word would be turned off. Because I'm like, oh God, do I sound like that? Turns out, yes. That's exactly what you sound like, Zeos. Because the GoPro, while being stereo, is not great stereo. So the voice comes out pretty mono. And it was coming straight out of the center channel. And I got used to it after about 35, 40 minutes. And now when I listen to myself, I'm like, why didn't I sound as clear? What's wrong? Why didn't I sound? Oh, because I'm not listening to it on an LCD 5000. An LCR 5000. LCD 5000 sounds like another headphone. So when I first turned this video on, I had the covers on all 3 of them. And all you saw were these speakers, the Swans. Which I was done with this video. I was like, all right, this is good enough. It's not good enough. Video wasn't good enough. I cannot tell you how, I kind of have to like, I don't think these would work in my big home theater for distance reasons. And the fact that I'm using Fortes upstairs and Heresies down here with a 12-inch, it's like, okay, I'm already basically turning my Heresies into these. But these are so much, I feel like there's no limit to the volume either, because they're pretty efficient. They're not over 100 decibels, but like 92 decibels efficiency. So when I run anything loud, I don't worry about the amp. The A3 amp is gladly able to plunge like 130 watts per channel into each one of these speakers. And that's their limit, at least according to the documentation. Let's put on something that I know would probably blow up a normal thing. The only problem I would have is the limitation on the subwoofer, but let's put it open to Mad Max, right? We all agree Mad Max Fury Road, probably one of the greatest movies of all time. Don't fucking argue with me on this. Where's the volume remote for the...
is Max. My world is fire and blood.
It's the oil, stupid. Oil.
What a fucking... Because I've hooked this surround processor up multiple times. Multiple times. Doing the other Emotiva amp. I've done tons of things. I've had it for years. Old apartment was going to set up. So I know it's not like, oh, Zeos, you're finally hearing a surround sound on a dedicated processor. I just did a review of a $4,000 processor with balanced outputs and a ton of amplifiers and Atmos speakers. So, and it's the amplifier, as solid as that Emotiva amplifier is, I don't think it's like conjuring magic from the 7th level of hell. So the only thing I've added to this space after 2.5 years of living in this house, or it's August? It'll be 2 years in August. 2 years living in this house is I've added this speaker. Zeos, you got a ton of speakers. And you love every speaker. Well, I tend to like things that are good. And I tend to fucking scream about things that do something so special and unique. Which, by the way, in case you're OCD and I gotta point it out, you can rotate this any orientation you want. I've even tried them vertical with the horn on top like a normal thing, and that just changes the dispersion from... I think the dispersion is greater this way than this way, which is what you want for home theater, to separate it into a channel. That's why the imaging isn't as good. You turn it up and maybe it'll be better, but then you'll have comb filtering effects because these two speakers will be on this plane, and if you have them angled, it'll cancel. Run them on their side. Horn inside, and then this one you can flip over any way you fucking feel like. Just flip it upside down. Leave the cover on it. If that bothers you, if horn right, horn left bothers you, don't bother. Honest to God, staring at this, being a little bit OCD, or what's the word, anal retentive, I'm like, but the horn is in the middle. You don't want it in the middle. That's a better design for a center channel than center channels are. All the center channels that have speaker, and either horn or speaker, little speaker, tweeter, those two speakers that are far apart, that's ruinous, because as soon as you're off axis, the distance between the two is so great, there's gonna be cancellation. When you're hardcore as fuck, you use literally just a normal speaker vertically as your center, because that, no matter where you are lined up, left or right, you're getting all three essentially at the same time. So this is as close as you can get to that, because you have these two, which are super prevalent, lined up, and then that one, which has this weird depth issue of that's where the tweeter's located. This box isn't this deep because it would be fun. They didn't need it for the volume to tune the bass because there's no port, so you're not tuning bass. This box is literally this deep just to support how insanely deep that tweeter is sitting. Here, wait. And this is to just hitting the front of the cone. So you hit the cone, that means the driver surface is probably here, and then you got to add the magnet structure. Holy God. These are the best dedicated home theater speakers. I haven't done many dedicated home theater speakers, which allows me to say these are the best dedicated home theater speakers. Because guess what? RF7s aren't a dedicated home theater speaker. You're not a dedicated, any of you? Hey, any of you? Dedicated home theater speakers? No. You all completely can do low end and highs and imaging and beautiful and mwah. These kind of suck. Kind of suck at music. If I got them real close together, like this or closer, with just two, and then added a subwoofer like I have on the Doom Stacks for each of them, maybe you could get away with music on them. But that's not their purpose. These are purpose-built vehicles to drive solely on the moon or through a war zone and not explode. So if I can imagine what the 6000s can do, holy fuck. Because this sort of power in the front end, which is blowing my mind, if this was just my rears, 3 rears, and then I had bigger ones, and the thing is, once you cover them, once you put those stupid covers back on them, they disappear. You might be able to hide these from the WAF. As pretty as they are to me, I'm a weirdo. You might be able to do this and get away with it, because in this space, where these currently are, which they're up nice and high, because I have a thing with home theater. Even though I'm sitting there, I wish this speaker was in the middle of the television, and it can't be. If it was a projection screen, yes. But the fucking shape of the sound coming out of this triangle in front, it's an unbeatable effect. That's it. Because I can crank. There are speakers that have as good a high end as these. And then you're going to hook them to your surround sound, and you're going to tell them not to produce any sound below a certain amount. Don't go below 100 hertz, which means why did you put it there in the first place? And then you're going to shove that off to a 0.1 sub so you can get better volume out of it. And then it's going to be like, all right, this is pretty good. These are not pretty good. These are fucking phenomenal. Specifically home theater speakers. That's it. And the fact that you can't buy them, like I found a guy on Amazon selling them. I'm not sure he still has it. I found the other place that had them for like $1,000 a piece. Oh my God. See, I have $3,300 to spend at a home theater. $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, buy a used surround sound receiver for $300, go. That's it, that's your start. That would be the most amazing start. You need a subwoofer. It'll sound thin AF. In fact, we could, well, I could just be that guy that unplugs the subwoofer like that. And then anything I put on will just sound thin, loud, but thin. So we're still loud. What these speakers do is make the subwoofer you pick twice as important. Twice. Because I've set up home theaters without a sub, and if I have a big enough speaker for the front channel, big enough speaker to front channel, and the center's like a decent, it's, you know what, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I can enjoy it. You cannot enjoy this sort of speaker without the 0.1. And I've got like a $500 8-inch, fucking 8, that big. The subwoofer only has one 8-inch driver over there. So as much as this is a Klipsch review of these speakers and an Emotiva review of that amp, I'm going to link the Martin Logan Dynamo 400 because it does a spectacular job of supporting these $3,000 in speakers. Actually, I have the rears cut off the same to match. So there are 6 speakers worth of sound getting thrown down to a little tiny 8-inch subwoofer. And it's one of the best sounding home theater experiences I've ever had. So I hope you have to contact a dealer. Klipsch, I'm gonna be like, Klipsch, do you want me to be a dealer? I'll deal these things out. Because once you put the covers on them, they just sort of go away. And I don't want them to go away. Cover that back up. Cover it back up. I had never planned on leaving a surround sound assembled in this area. It was gonna be put up whatever speakers, I'm done with them, put them on the side, and then put up new speakers, put them on the side. But I don't think I have the heart to disable what is essentially this. Like these speakers here, they're hooked up. If I put on music, I can play them on the Swans. And when music time is over, if I don't want to listen to myself, I switch the fucking output and I put it back through the Emotiva, through the amplifier, and through the Klipsch, and with the rear channels, and oh God. So yeah, Klipsch, more THX lines. I don't know what else to tell them to do. I don't know what else to tell them to do. Make them, they don't need to be self-powered. They're pretty efficient. You could hook these up to a regular everyday surround sound processor. You don't need that Emotiva A3 dedicated, you know, it's not a monoblock, it's a triple amp, which is super rare. You don't need it for this. But the fact that that's here and these have basically no volume limits except for what the subwoofer can keep up with. It's essentially, it's taught me a lesson about home theater. I've always been a very big proponent of, you should have a full speaker in every channel that can do all the bass it can handle. And that's fine, except for the fact that when bass is coming from every single point, when you do the sub crawl, unless every single point sounds the best, you're going to get muddled or even cancellation, because the low end from this rear channel Swan is now canceling out the low end from that front right if it had low end. So it's a mess. So we're basically building a $7,000 or $8,000 home theater in a box. Remember the home theater in a box from like 2001, where you got a Philips set and had a silver processor that had like little plug-in speakers, and they were like this big, like Bose cubes, and you put them around, and then it came with a whomping shitty subwoofer. That's this, but for adults, for people who actually care about the sound delivery. Because I had those speakers close, and then I moved them further away, and it's like now they're 12 feet apart, and I get the most amazing sound stage. Not for music, but for movies. It's just explosions across the entire spectrum. And the only reason that works is because there's no low end coming from there, none from there, none from there, cut it off from there, cut it off from there, cut it from there, feed it to the sub's in the perfect position, sit in my perfect little position space, and it's great. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this review now before it gets even longer. Thank you to Klipsch for sending these out. Please support your local Klipsch dealers. If those exist, do those even exist? Are there local Klipsch dealers? I'm gonna go back to I would say listening, but I guess being physically abused by these in the best way possible, because that's another thing, really quick before I end. They don't hurt. They're sharp. They've got them horns. It's without a subwoofer, they're violent. But when you have everything balanced out, and the subwoofer assists, and you have everything tuned, and the distance, and the volume, and the gain setting for each one of them, I'm kind of addicted to this setup. And as an audio reviewer, I shouldn't be addicted to one thing for very long, or I get stuck on it. So, let's end this review. Patreon subscribe star, linked in the description. If you'd like to see reviews early, participate in yard sales. Oh, Master and Commander. Participate in yard sales, see reviews early, or get lossless sound demos. I did not sound demo these speakers. Here's the thing. You won't find a sound demo link in the description, because these aren't speakers. These are the top half of a surround speaker. They would need to be demoed as a surround sound, and frankly, my microphones aren't crazy enough to do that. But $10 a month on Patreon or Subscribe Star allow you to see review, allow you to enter the patronage chat where you could ask me questions directly. You get into a lifetime swap meet channel where you can buy, sell, and trade gear, and you get to bullshit with all the other patrons. Hold on, I'm going to a specific point. Sand and broken shell. If you've never seen Master and Commander, let's see, where? Wait. Oh.
Down! All hands down! Mr. Holler, damage report if you please!
What a fucking center channel. If you could only afford $1,000, just buy one of those as a center channel. Honey, it'll look great on the coffee table. And honey works both ways. So if you're a woman watching this and you're like, honey, it'll look great on the coffee table, you got the right woman there. Oh, God. That was terrifying. I'm gonna go now and probably watch the rest of this.
We're gonna have to get closer to Pokey's eye. Run out the starboard battery.
Goodbye, everyone.
On the wind.
On the wind, sir.
I'll see you in the next one. My God.